Look at this photograph of ancient Delhi. The densely packed streets are bustling and entirely exposed. Now imagine navigating these crowds knowing the city is overrun by one of the deadliest snakes on the planet, the venomous Indian cobra. The British colonial authorities decided this public health hazard required an immediate, logical intervention. Their solution was straightforward. They offered a cash bounty to any citizen who turned in a dead snake. The policy appeared to work perfectly. Residents began showing up at government offices carrying baskets full of dead cobras, happily collecting their payouts. But after a few months, officials noticed a troubling discrepancy. Despite thousands of rewards being issued, the number of live cobras slithering through the city was steadily climbing. The British government had constructed a seemingly flawless economic incentive, yet it yielded the exact opposite of what they intended. This diagram shows the anatomy of the cobra effect: goal, incentive, human pivot, cancellation, and backfire. The sequence begins when policymakers confuse the first two steps. They identify a true objective, but attach a financial reward to a proxy metric, an easier-to-measure substitute. In Delhi, the true goal was reducing the number of live, venomous snakes. The proxy metric was the number of dead snakes handed over to a clerk. We see this precise misalignment across modern history. To boost hardware production, Soviet central planners measured a nail factory's quota by total weight, rather than the usefulness of the output. The factory immediately began casting massive, heavy spikes that were entirely useless for actual construction. When authorities pay for a proxy instead of the actual goal, they create a mathematical loophole. That loophole triggers step 3, the human pivot. People naturally gravitate toward the path of least resistance to secure a payout. Enterprising locals in Delhi realized that hunting wild cobras was dangerous and time-consuming. It was far safer and more lucrative to set up private cobra farms, breed the snakes in captivity, and harvest them for a steady income. The French colonial rulers of Hanoi fell into the identical trap in 1902. They offered a bounty for rat tails to curb the plague. Citizens simply trapped the rats, severed their tails for cash, and released the breeding adults to generate a continuous supply. In 1989, Mexico City attempted to curb air pollution by banning cars from driving on specific days based on their license plate numbers. Rather than take public transit, residents bought a second car with a different plate, usually a cheap, older model with a terrible exhaust system. Look at this photo of the Mexico City skyline from that era. Because residents bypassed the law by putting thousands of older, dirtier vehicles on the road, the air quality measurably deteriorated. Human ingenuity is highly efficient. When offered a reward, people will dedicate their energy to optimizing the measurement, entirely ignoring the actual problem, which brings us to the final two steps of the trap: the cancellation and the backfire. Once the British officials in Delhi discovered the network of underground snake farms, they immediately scrapped the entire bounty program. With the bounty gone, the captive cobras were financially worthless. Breeders emptied their baskets, releasing thousands of venomous snakes directly into the city streets. By introducing a financial incentive and then abruptly removing it, the government had successfully subsidized mass breeding of the exact pest they set out to eradicate. These missteps reveal a strict behavioral principle that dictates how systems fail. It is captured by Goodhart's law, which states, when a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. A target invites manipulation. If the incentive structure rewards the wrong metric, good intentions hold absolutely no weight against basic human self-interest. If you throw money at a nuisance without strictly measuring your true goal, you might just end up paying people to breed your own monsters.